Welcome to today's tutorial. We're going to be doing the February violets. It's going to be super fun and simple for all skill levels. But before we start, I just want to show you some of our favorite pages from the Watercolor coloring book. This has been so fun for us to just paint and unwind and just get creative without the pressure of figuring out what to paint. So, without further ado, let's paint this February violet. I actually have a little tiny version right here for you to see. It's very simple, easy to follow, and just a fun tutorial that will probably only take 20 minutes to paint. So, the first thing that I like to do is spray my paints down, which I've been painting so they're already wet, but I'm just gonna do a little bit more. And while I let that set in, I'm gonna tape my paper down. So if you have the book already, I have it in an 8.5 by 11. The reason that I kept it this standard size is so that if you wanted to tape it down, you're gonna have about 1/4 inch on both sides vertically, and then about 1/2 inch on the horizontal sides, or the top and bottom. So I'm gonna do that right now. That way, when you're done painting and you take the tape off, it's gonna be an 8 by 10. So I'm reusing my tape because I am running out. So hopefully this holds up. There we go. Might have to just like reapply the corners in a second. Okay, so the two brushes you'll need: a round medium-sized brush, a round tip. I have a size 8, and then we have a filbert, a large filbert. And the reason that you'll need this is if we end up doing the background, that's what this is for. Just so that we can spread it faster. But for the majority of the whole painting, it will just be using this. And then I have a paper towel and 2 jars of water and my scratch paper. So, first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix my purples, and I want a pretty violet, so I'm going to grab this. Now with watercolors, like I said yesterday in the January birth flower, a lot of times you think because acrylic and oils and most other paints, you're gonna do the dark colors first. But watercolor is the opposite. You wanna do the light colors before anything else. And you'll just build on top of each other. So I'm grabbing that and I'm diluting it quite a bit with the water. And let's see if that's a pretty, yeah. So that color, I actually want it a little bit more pink. We'll see. That looks better. Okay. So I'm gonna do it a little bit more. And then I'm gonna make a darker purple for the inside of our flowers. Oh, I like that color. Okay. Okay, So I like those. And I'm gonna start painting. I'm going to just go. So if you have the coloring book, it's already outlined, so a lot of the hard part is already done for you. You can just go within the lines. I'm gonna add some water to this to dilute it a little bit more. But again, it doesn't need to be perfect because you're gonna go over it with pen afterwards if you are doing the lines. And the fun thing about watercolor is it doesn't need to be like the exact same, and when you let the water kind of do what it wants, it adds some really pretty textures. So this is still darker than I want it, so I'm grabbing my brush and just pulling some of that pigment off the paper and dabbing it onto my paper towel. So I get some of those lighter colors on the outside of the flower. Cool. And then I'm grabbing this darker color that we made and just dabbing it into the middle. Like that. Super pretty and simple. So we're gonna do the other two petals now. Same thing. And you can even leave some white spots to show reflection. And that adds a lot of character to your paintings. And another way you can show that it's different petals is leaving white areas in between the two petals. So I'll do that right here so you can see what I'm talking about. See how I'm leaving just that little bit of white. And there we go. Okay, same thing. I'm kind of bringing this out, dabbing it on my paper. And when it's already kind of getting dry, sometimes you have to grab some water and go over it. And then dry your brush off and go back. Like that. And then you're gonna grab this darker purple and drop it in the middle again. Awesome. So you're gonna do that for every single flower. If you want a little bit of different colors per flower, you can definitely do that. But I'm just gonna keep it simple, I'm gonna use the same colors that I have. So I'm gonna go, and if you move fast, you don't have to do like 2 flowers or 2 petals at a time. You can do the whole flower at once. But you just have to move fairly quickly if you want that middle color to bleed in. Okay, so I have those. And then I'm running out of this dark purple, so I'm gonna put some more on there. And just drop it in the middle. And then if you don't like how it's just kind of stopping, you can grab your pen or your brush and just kind of guide it to where you want it. Like that. And then same thing if you want the edges of your flowers to be a little lighter, and bring in water and just scrubbing at it for a second. And then grabbing a dry brush and pulling it off. Okay. Next one. Grabbing the dark, dropping it in the middle. And as you can see, I'm still leaving some white areas in the middle, because those kind of will portray the seeds for you. Do this one. Okay, so right here I'm grabbing water and finishing it off over here. Just because I want the outside to be a little lighter, so I'm only doing the inside with the pigment and then adding water to the edge. And then I'm grabbing this dark color that we made and dropping it in the middle. And because I was painting a little slower, it's not blending as well as these flowers did. And that's okay. All you gotta do is grab your brush and kind of guide it out. Like that. And then if you dry your brush off completely, you can kind of just grab that where that harsh line is to smooth it out. Just brush over it like that. Cool. And I'm doing it here. Okay, same thing. I'm gonna drop these here and kind of wash my brush off, and then finish the petal off like this. And then while it's still wet, you can dab in that color. I even want it to be a little darker than that, so I'm gonna make some more and drop it in the middle. And you can even like just drop it here, like that. Rinse your brush a little and finish this off. See how I'm drying my brush so that I don't carry all that pigment over here? If you dip your brush in your water and then bring it straight over here, you're not gonna have a lot of control, which is why I like to dry my brush off before coming back over. Pretty. One more flower and then we can move on to the stems. So for those of you that are new around here, this painting is gonna be in one of the coloring books that we are releasing. That is in pre-orders right now. Or maybe when you watch this, it'll already be released, we'll see. But this watercolor coloring book is going to have all the birth flowers, as well as 12 additional just random fun floral paintings. It's actually been super therapeutic. My sister and I have been painting the examples for the last week or so, and it's been super fun to just kind of unwind and paint.
And relax and chill.
Yes, and to relax and chill, Sadie says. Okay, so this one I'm dropping in some darker colors again. No, that's like a little bit too messy. I mean, it's all about your style, but I'm gonna clean it up a little. There we go. And if you want your petals to be even more divided, you can bring like a little line up and then brush it out with the drag and drop method, with which, if you don't know what that is, that's okay, I can teach you real fast. But also we have a watercolor basics free mini course that you can watch, and I'll link it below in the comments. It's super awesome. You're gonna learn how to do greenery and florals, as well as lighting, shadows, wet on wet and wet on dry. One of my good friends, Nicole, is doing that, so I will link it for you. Okay, so we have the flowers done for the most part. At the end, we're gonna go back in and do the little... Sadie, what are those called? The seed stem things? You know what I'm talking about? Like the middle of the flower?
Of what flower?
It's okay. The little... You know what I'm talking about.
The center of the flower.
Yeah, the center of the flower. See, we don't know much about flowers. We just think they're really pretty.
We're just like painting them.
Yeah. So we're gonna find the green, and I am someone, I don't like those vibrant greens. So I'm grabbing some of this, and if you don't have this exact green, that's totally fine. I actually like to make my own greens, so sometimes I just grab yellow and touch of blue, and then even then it's still like more vibrant than I want, so I add purple. That sounds kind of weird, but it's adding a mixture of red and blue, which kind of dilutes the green. I'll show you. Like that. Really pretty. I'm gonna do even more purple. Okay. So I'm just gonna do one color for now, and then we're gonna make a darker color for the shaded areas of the stems. When you're doing stems, luckily I have them mapped out for you, so you don't necessarily have to think much about it, but if you're following along and don't have this paper guide, how I make stems is I usually hold the end of my brush like this, and I stabilize my elbow on the table or like my forearm to where I can use the lightest pressure and just go like this. And you can even go smaller, and if you apply more pressure you can do bigger stems. And that's the same as leaves. This particular painting doesn't have leaves, but if you did, it's the same type of thing. You have a light pressure and then you just add some. See, when that happens, that means I need more water. So I'm adding some water. You have light pressure and then like this. So that's a leaf, but you can also, a lot of leaves you can do one like this, like that, and then do the other side of the leaf so that it has that middle stem in it. Okay, so I have my greens, and I'm just gonna go do this one first. You see how my arm is like steady on the table? It's really hard to have control over your paintings when your arms are up in the air. Sometimes that's a style choice, but for what we're doing, I would recommend having some part of your forearm or wrist on the table. Okay, so I have that base layer, and now I'm going to come back and I'm going to use the same green, but I'm adding a little bit more blue into it. Like this. And then I'm just going to be bringing it alongside the left side of the stem. You want to do the shadow on the same side of each stem, because then it's more appealing to the eye when you can see a light source. There we go. Okay, now before we do the background, we can add in some pretty little seeds in the middle, and I think I'm gonna make the seeds blue. I'm not sure what the actual seeds look like in a violet. If that's traditional, I don't think it is. My guess is they're yellow, but I'm not gonna do yellow. I'm gonna do blue. So I'm grabbing blue, and all I'm doing is just doing these little dots. I wouldn't take up, I would make your dots. Some of them can cover your white areas that you did, but I would keep a lot of your white area that you left in the middle. Pretty. Or go have your color be around it. Okay, so now you're gonna leave that, and you can add in the little stem to the middle at the end with your pen. Okay, so now if you're a minimalist like I am, I really like leaving the background white. But just to help whoever is not like that and loves the background, I'm gonna help you do that too, to make a peach color.